Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I am Ken. Today, guys, I am here to unbox my March Vinegar Syndrome package. Look at that, guys. There's nothing better than receiving the Vinegar Syndrome package in. You got that cool Vinegar Syndrome tape on it. You just get so excited. So yeah, we're going to dig into this. I'm going to do some unboxings. I got 4 releases that came out in the month of March. I went a little bit crazy for Vinegar Syndrome this month. But yeah, I got this like right after I filmed Physical Media Lives. I didn't want to wait all the way until next episode to show these off. Even though if I watch some of these before then, I'll do reviews in that. I'll show them off again because I like to show everything off again in Physical Media Lives if I didn't cover it in a previous episode of Physical Media Lives. Guys, we're already going off the rails. I apologize. But the one that I will be able to talk about in depth in this video, because I did just get done watching it on 4K and I watched the special features, is Going South. So we'll do a little bit of a review of this film in the video today. But before we get into it, guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. We talk about physical media on this channel, Blu-rays, 4Ks, owning the movies that you love. I don't know why I'm clapping my hands. What am I doing? Clapping. Guys, let's go. Woo-woo. I guess I'm trying to wake myself up. I just literally woke up like 45 minutes ago and came down here to film this video. But yeah, guys, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. What did you pick up from Vinegar Syndrome in March? Did you get Going South? What did you think of it? Let me know in the comment section below. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get into it. Without further ado, let's start with Going South. So this is a new cinematograph. And guys, I don't know how to say the new line name. I've said cinematography. People have corrected me. People have said that's the right way to say it. I've said cinematography. I've said cinematograph. I've said it every which way. And I'm tired of trying. So I just kind of defaulted to cinematography. But maybe it's cinematograph. I don't know. But anyway, I'm loving this new line from Vinegar Syndrome. I just ordered the 2 newest ones they put out. I think one was called Dangerous Games, and the one that they just announced this past Monday was Touch. And I'm super excited for that one for sure. But this is a really cool movie. Just got done watching it. This is directed by Jack Nicholson. I think it's one of 3 films that he directed. They actually have an entire special feature kind of talking about his directing career and his career in general, but focusing on him as a director. He did the Two Jakes movie, which was the sequel to Chinatown. And then there was one movie, I think it was called Drive, he said, or something. But anyway, Going South was the one that he did right in the middle. Came out in 1978. And how I would describe this movie, it's a Western comedy with a little bit of romance. So I guess you would say this is kind of a Western romantic comedy. The movie feels completely like tonally different than anything else I've seen before. But the real selling point here is the cast. Like, you got Jack Nicholson in it. He stars in it and he directs the film. But you also have all of these incredible actors in this movie that are just playing these kind of smaller background roles. Not really background, but they just kind of pop up here and there. But they're like huge stars. And this was like before I think a lot of them really popped off. But you got Mary Steenburgen in this movie, who, of course, I love Mary Steenburgen from Back to the Future Part 3, which we'll get to in a second because another big actor from Back to the Future Part 3 is in this movie. But she's great. And it says introducing Mary Steenburgen before this movie starts, or in the credits in the opening. So I think this was her first movie, and she's excellent in this film. You could tell how she became kind of a bigger star in the 80s and 90s. Of course, she was in Step Brothers as well, and a lot of other stuff. I'm failing to remember all the Mary Steenburgen movies, but she's always been great. I've always been a big fan of that actress. She's very young in this movie. I would say mid-20s, maybe early 20s. But yeah, you got her in the movie, but you also got Christopher Lloyd in the film, and he's kind of pining for Mary Steenburgen. Of course, she marries Jack Nicholson. That's the whole plot of the movie. So it's kind of funny to see Christopher Lloyd 12 years before, 7 years before the iconic role of Doc Brown, but 12 years before Back to the Future 3, where they would star in the movie together again. So he's in the movie playing a real fun, like, deputy role, kind of an antagonist to Jack Nicholson in the movie. And you also got Danny DeVito in this film, which is really cool. You got John Belushi in this movie, and there was a bunch of other people that I recognized, but I can't think of their names off the top of my head. So it's a really fun cast and a really fun plot. It's basically Jack Nicholson plays an outlaw by the name of Henry Moon. And he kind of gets chased down, and they're going to put him to death because he robbed this bank, and he's been terrorizing this little small town. So he's getting ready to get hanged. But this town has some kind of a clause in like the death penalty that says if you get married or some woman wants to accept you as their husband, and they have property, that you can get out of the hanging, you can get out of the death penalty. So Mary Steenburgen kind of steps up and offers to marry Jack Nicholson. And at first you're kind of confused why, because this outlaw guy that's very rough around the edges. It's like, why would Mary Steenburgen, young, beautiful Mary Steenburgen, want to marry him? But then you figure it out when she brings him back home to her property, and she basically wants him to help her mine for gold. She's got this like mining tunnel in her backyard or her back area, somewhere on her property, and she uses him to help her mine for the gold. So she's basically putting him to work every day. And there's just this kind of like, antagonistic relationship. At first, she's very just kind of like, look, all we're doing is work. And Jack Nicholson's trying to get in bed with her. She's like, no, this is a business relationship. I saved your life. So they're very at odds with each other. So it's one of those things where they slowly develop feelings for each other, and the romance kind of builds and builds as the movie goes. Of course, there's other things that happen that kind of, lead to some comedic moments in the movie. I will say this about the film, like I was laughing like consistently. I would say in the first half, towards the second half, things get a little bit more serious. But like the first half of the movie, like there were several points where I was laughing out loud. So it totally works as a comedy. But it's a really cool movie. I'm a big fan of the Western genre and just the Western aesthetic in films. So I was naturally just kind of gravitated towards this type of film. And Jack Nicholson is wonderful in the movie. It's got great direction. And the cinematographer is a very well-known cinematographer, Nestor Almendros. And he did the cinematography, and it's beautiful, beautiful filmmaking in this film. So Goin South is 100% worth your time. And in my opinion, the cinematography line is 3 for 3 as far as their films. Little Darlings, Red Rock West, and Goin South. All 3 great films that I could highly recommend. Getting into the 4K transfer here, like Vinegar Syndrome just doesn't miss what their 4K's got. Like they do some of the best restoration work that there is, and this is a Western. I've said it before many times. Westerns always look so freaking good in 4K, and this was no exception. The detail was there. This had a good amount of grain. This is like, the opposite of the James Cameron 4K releases. This is the perfect 4K transfer that film fans gravitate towards, that we love. It's got that real nice layer of grain, that real nice grain structure, but also there's an incredible amount of detail and clarity, and the colors really pop with that HDR, and it just looks really nice. And this is the kind of, film 4K transfer that I love. So Goin South on 4K looked excellent, immaculate. One of the best 4Ks that I've seen all year, hands down. There are a couple of moments where it kind of drops a little bit in quality, but again, you could just tell that they couldn't properly get it fully restored. And this was also a first time to not just 4K, but Blu-ray as well. This had never gotten a Blu-ray release, at least in the States. It just was on DVD. So this was a hell of an upgrade. So yeah, really enjoyed this film and this 4K and the special features, guys, as well. Like there's a special feature talking about Jack Nicholson's career and the 3 films that he directed. And they're talking to a guy that he knew, because of course they're not going to get Jack Nicholson. He's pretty much retired with all this stuff at this point. But it's a great kind of little mini featurette documentary just talking about Jack Nicholson as a director, and also how he wanted to be a director in the early part of his career. That was his aspirations, and how he kind of in the 80s just fell into being a huge star and just gave up on directing pretty much. So that was a really interesting little featurette. And there's also a featurette about the cinematographer as well. And there's a new audio commentary with critic Simon Abrams. So let's go ahead and get into an unboxing here, guys. Goin South. I like the artwork on the front, and it does fit the movie. You got the rope, you know, he almost gets hanged and then he falls in love. So it fits. I would like maybe a little bit more going on with the artwork here. It'd be cool if they had some like Western themed stuff, some desert, some mountains, some cactuses or something. Some buildings, some old Western buildings, horses. I don't know. Some more Western stuff, but it works. I don't dislike it or anything. But all right, let's go ahead and remove this J card. And on the back, you got the rope being cut. And I didn't show you the back of this. If you guys want to see this. Bam, bam, bam. And I talked about the restoration, but this is a restoration of the original camera negative, Dolby Vision, HDR. I think it's got Dolby Vision. Well, it just says HDR. Maybe it doesn't have Dolby Vision, but it looked damn good. Either way, it looked damn good. But, yeah, you got the rope cut on the back. You got a little bit of tape on here I need to take off real quick. Bear with me. It's always super scary when you're taking tape off because you feel like you're going to take off part of the release. But Vinegar Syndrome should definitely know better. All right, going south. Let's go ahead and take this out. You got this little kind of hardback book. I mean, this is pretty much the same material. Like if you were to take a book, the book cover off and feel the book underneath the book cover, the hardback book, that's what it would feel like. That's what they're going for here. This kind of book feel. And it is a digibook. I mean, it's a digibook. You open it up and you got, you know, the book inside, writings on the movie and everything. This is a 2-disc set, so you have the 4K, and I've got the Blu-ray and the player back there. But you have both the 4K and the Blu-ray. The disc guard is the same on both. But I shouldn't even bother taking this out because there's no artwork on the inside. But it's a classy release. Like the packaging on these, they're very classy. I'll give them that. It's very classy. But yeah, really cool. This is a pretty lengthy book on the inside as well. You got some images from the movie. And yeah, really cool stuff. I like this. There's Christopher Lloyd in the movie. Looks pretty damn crazy in that picture. Young Mary Steenburgen. I hope I was saying her name right. Yeah, you got some comic strips in there as well. Really cool release, though. I enjoyed this a lot. I really did enjoy this a lot. And I was hoping I would because I want the cinematography line to be successful. And I want other people to check out these films and check out this line because it's a really cool thing that Vinegar Syndrome has going right now. So yeah, that is Going South on 4K. Let's get into some of the other stuff I got. Now I won't be able to talk in depth about these because I have not watched these yet. I haven't even got these out of the bubble wrap yet. I just pulled Going South out immediately. All right, so let's take these out. Throw this box to the side. All right, so I'm going to save this one for last. We'll go through the Vinegar Syndrome stuff first, and then I also got a partner label as well. But I did get the Dr. Terror's House of Horrors, and I got to be honest, I'm a little disappointed in this because I thought it was going to be another hard box case, side-loading slipcase, like Dr. Hickok was. And it's not. Or Dr. Hitchcock. It's just a regular slipcover, which is fine. It's fine. The artwork still looks great. I like how the skull in the middle kind of reflective. Definitely really cool. It's kind of embossed a little bit. That's pretty awesome. But I was hoping this would come in a slip box to kind of match Dr. Hitchcock. So I'm not exactly sure why they didn't do that, but it's a nice release anyway. I feel like the price was the same as well. Now, from what I'm hearing, this is some kind of a horror anthology. So I'm excited to dive into this. It's got a great cast. You got Donald Sutherland in this movie. You got, I believe, Christopher Lee's in this. I mean, Christopher Lee's in everything. All the gothic horror films that came out in the 60s and 70s. But Peter Cushing's in the movie as well. I'll show you the case. Zoom in on the back so you guys can check it out. I'm sure there's a lot of good special features here. I'm hoping to dive into this one pretty soon. But like I said, just wanted to get this unboxing out for you guys. Yeah, you got Tales of Terror, 39 minutes. Yeah, you got a lot of stuff here, guys. You got an archival making of documentary that's an hour long. So like this is a pretty extensive release. And I really enjoyed Dr. Hitchcock. So I'm excited to dive into more gothic horror. It's definitely I mean, I've seen some gothic horror films, but it's definitely a kind of a blind spot for me. Then you open it up and you do have the 4K and the Blu-ray. I imagine all the special features are on the Blu-ray. Probably some audio commentaries as well. And then we'll flip it, and we've got some alternate artwork, reversible artwork. And I never talk about the spine numbers on Vinegar Syndrome because I don't really pay attention to it, but this is spine number 464 in the mainline VS line. They've got so many lines going now, it's hard to keep up with, but this is a part of the main line. It's not a special edition release or anything, but I'm pretty sure Dr. Hitchcock was as well. All right, so that's Dr. Tear's House of Horrors. And like I said, I am excited to dive into this one. All right, let me set that over there. And we also got, this is a 2-movie pack. There's 2 movies in this. We got Spectres, and then we got Maya. So like I said, these are 2 movies. So on the front, you have the one film, and on the back, you have the other film. I don't know. I can't remember why I got this exactly. I read the description. I think these are Italian horror films. As the close of 1980s drew near, Italy continued to turn out some of the weirdest and wildest entries the horror genre had to offer. And this set of atmospheric offerings, Spectres and Maya from director. Okay, so it's from the same director. So yeah, these are Italian horror films, so that's probably what kind of drew me into it. And look, I'll be honest, like I'm all for getting more bang for my buck. So you tell me that there's 2 movies in a set that cost $30. I'm more likely to get that than the one movie because I got 2 movies to watch here. So yeah, Spectres and Maya. I like how they put them both on the cover right here. I think that's pretty cool. But let me take the plastic off because you might be able to read that a little bit better. So yeah, let me know if you know anything about these 2 films, because with a lot of Vinegar Syndrome releases, like I'm completely oblivious to any of these films before they announce them. Every now and then I'll know something beforehand, but not a lot. But let me zoom in right there. You guys can check it out. Looks pretty gnarly. And I imagine there's some special features on both of these. Yeah, you got interviews, commentaries, all kinds of stuff on both of these films. So, yeah, really cool. Let me open this up. This is a 2-disc set, so it's not a both films on one disc thing. You do have both films have their own, disc. Spectres, Maya. I like the artwork, though. Really cool artwork. Take that off. And if you flip this, I don't even know why I bothered taking those out. You have Spectres and Maya with the other films, Maya's artwork. So, and this is spine number 463. So is that around the other? Yeah, 464, and this one's 463. Okay, let me put these discs back in. So yeah, I'm looking forward to watching both of these. This is a really cool release. I'm trying to keep up with my watches for Vinegar Syndrome. I've still got tons of Vinegar Syndrome I haven't seen, but everything that I buy this year, I want to try and watch as it comes out. I've done pretty good with that so far, so hopefully I'll have these watched within the next couple of weeks or so. Because Vinegar Syndrome is just a line that or just a label that I'm becoming more and more interested in, it feels like every year. And I think they're having an incredible year so far. I don't care what anybody says. I think the stuff they're doing this year is some of the best they've ever done. And this next release I got is not a Vinegar Syndrome release. This is AGFA, which stands for America Genre Film Association. So I did get the Last Slumber Party. I don't know. This one was going very quickly, and it is now sold out. I think at least with a slipcover, you might be able to buy it without the slipcover. And I'll be honest, because it was going so quickly and it had Slumber Party in the title, I'm a sucker for these kind of like stupid just slasher films from the 80s. And I do love the Slumber Party Massacre. So I think that's why this one went so quick. I think a lot of people are assuming that it was kind of like the Slumber Party Massacre. So everybody bought this. But I mean, the cover art is really cool. It's just kind of just looks so classic and so 80s. And yeah, I don't know if this movie's any good or not. I really don't know anything about it, but when I saw the cover, I was like, I got to get this. It's got a pink spine right there. And I'm glad I got it now because it went out of print and it's probably worth some money, but not like I'm looking to sell it or anything, but I do like having valuable releases in the collection. That's always nice. So yeah, showing you the back right there. I don't know too much about this. I imagine they all get together for a slumber party and there's a massacre. I mean, it says it's the last slumber party, so I guess they don't have another slumber party after that. Let's see. It says on the back, warning, not recommended for persons under 17 years of age, graphic violence. All right, so I'll read a little bit of the premise here. On their last day of high school, Linda, Tracy, and Chris celebrate by having a slumber party at Linda's house. A few boys drop by, and the beer flows like wine. Just good, clean, fun-loving kids. But the girls have another visitor, one they don't yet know about. Hiding in the house is just a homicidal maniac who has just escaped from a mental hospital. Armed with a scalpel, the nut slashes a little here and a little there as he sneaks from room to room. Okay, so you have a slasher with a scalpel hiding out in the house and going from room to room. Is that as cool as the Driller Killer? Probably not. But I'm sure there's some fun to be had here. So I'm glad I got the last slumber party. Let's take it out of the slipcover. Show you the front, show you the back. I don't know how many AGFA releases I have. I feel like I have a couple. I feel like I do have a couple from this label, but I haven't gotten a ton of stuff from the partner labels this month. I haven't. I recently just ordered a couple from the April slate, so you'll see those on the channel when those come out. But the partner label stuff, I mean, I'm sure they've got some good stuff. It's just stuff that doesn't like pop out to me directly at first. But let me zoom in here so you guys can read that if you want. Close up, close up, close up, close up, close up. I do this so you guys can pause, if you want to read. But really cool artwork here on the cover. And this is a film from 1988 directed by Steven Tyler. Directed by the lead singer of Aerosmith, apparently. I'm sure it's a different Steven Tyler. But let me open this up. You got the disc. Plain disc art. I mean, that disc art is kind of plain. Like, they could have done some cool stuff with it, given the premise of the movie. And then you got some images on the inside. Some bloody girls having a great time until they get hacked up with a scalpel, apparently. Yeah, I'll check this out. It's probably soon for sure. This is just one of those like easy watches I could just sit down and have a little fun with for, I imagine, like 80 to 90 minutes. So the last slumber party, let me know if you got this as well in the comment section below, because it went very quickly. But thank you all so much for watching my Vinegar Syndrome March haul. Like I said, Going South is a top recommendation. I highly recommend it. It was the only one I could talk about today, but I do highly recommend Going South on 4K. It was a great release, and I'm excited to get into the others as well. But thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll see you next time.